welcome to Dirty Moms Yoga. We're going to do a how-to downward facing dog or Adho Mukha Svanasana. So I have blocks here. I highly recommend using blocks if you have really tight hamstrings and hips, or if you notice in down dog you have a curve in your spine and you can't really lift that tailbone up. Placing your hands on those blocks can help. So I'll show you that first. So find yourself coming down into a tabletop position. You can place those blocks in the front edge of your mat. Just bring them up to the side for a moment. And find yourself in a nice tabletop position. Wow, my mat is really filthy, you all. I have dog hair everywhere. Thank you, Peggy. A good setup for downward facing dog from your tabletop position is to take your hands and place them one handprint in front of where they are now. Or you can come up onto your fingertips and then just replace them down on where that heel is. So one hand print in front of where you are right now. Firmly press into those hands, making nice little fun jazz hands and thinking about the space between the thumb and the first finger. Firmly press down into that space that'll help protect those wrists. Rotate those biceps towards like where your ears are going to land. Tuck those toes behind you, press into your hands, and lift that tailbone up nice and high. And start with a nice deep bend into those knees and just check in with that space and see if this down dog feels comfortable for you. Maybe you need to shorten your stance, maybe you need to lengthen your stance. And just feel if you can lift that tailbone up high while dropping those heels down towards your mat. Relax the crown of the head down towards the earth. If this feels good, you can stay here and firmly think about pressing between that space and the thumb and the finger, that hand pit, continuing to lift that tailbone up high, and you can keep working on straightening those knees and dropping those heels down. Now, if this is not accessible to you and your hamstrings are really tight, you can't straighten your knees, you're feeling a curvature in your back, that's where the blocks can come in handy. So setting yourself up in the exact same way you just did, placing those hands on those blocks, and you can kind of, depending on how big your blocks are and your hands are, you can really kind of grip that block just like you would your mat, firmly pressing down in the space between the thumb and the first finger, and rotating the biceps next to your ears. Tuck those toes and then press into the blocks, and then come into downward facing dog with those bent knees. Feel free to bend those knees as much as feels comfortable for your body. Everybody's different. Now, if you feel yourself sliding on your blocks, I like to take the heels of my hands and press them at the end of that block. If you've got a sticky mat, those blocks should not slide at all. So really draw those that front rib into your back rib. Lift that tailbone up high. Maybe now you can really feel that tailbone reaching up, and you can drop those heels down. Relax the shoulders away from your ears, allow the head to fall down, and then press those blocks away from you. Breathe. That feels so good. Really feel the opening on the shoulder blades coming out towards the edges of that rib cage. Breathe, draw that navel in and up. Take one more big deep breath in. And on an exhale, slowly lower those heels down, coming back into a tabletop position. And you can just sit back onto those heels and roll those wrists. So downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, is in probably almost every single class you're going to take, unless you're doing a restorative or even a yin pose. And believe it or not, down dog is considered a resting pose. And if you are a beginner or even an intermediate, I consider myself intermediate, it still doesn't feel like a resting pose, but it does come with strength and continuing practice. And adding those props in there as well can continue to help. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of things that you can do to make your down dog more comfortable, especially if you're in a vinyasa class where you're doing them about 800 times. So thank you for joining in. Stay tuned, we'll get some more how-tos coming soon, and make sure you subscribe, like, and share, and thanks for joining in. Namaste.